Some stories begin with love and end with silence. This is one of them. Gabby Petito's story didn't start with tragedy. It started with a sketchbook, a camera, and a heart full of wanderlust. Born in 1999 in Blue Point, Long Island, Gabby was the kind of soul who could turn an ordinary moment into art. Her childhood friends remember her laughter, bright, unfiltered, almost musical. Her notebooks were filled with doodles of mountains, sunsets, and roads that seemed to lead nowhere but freedom. She wanted more than a routine life, more than the small-town rhythm that repeated every day. She dreamed of seeing the world, not through a hotel window, but through a van's windshield, with wind in her hair and stories in her eyes. Her parents, Nicole and Joe, often said she was born with a restless spirit. She was sunshine, Nicole once said softly in an interview, her eyes trembling behind tears. She wanted everyone to smile. She believed the world was good. That belief would soon meet the harshness of reality. In 2019, Gabby met Brian Laundrie. He was quiet, artistic, someone who also loved nature and drawing. Their connection was quick, like two puzzle pieces that suddenly found their match. Friends said they looked perfect together. Two young dreamers, sharing plans about living off-grid, traveling across states, and making videos for YouTube. They posted happy photos, hugging in parks, smiling beside murals, and walking barefoot on beaches. From the outside, it looked like pure love. But love sometimes hides storms behind its sunsets. As the relationship grew, so did the small cracks. Gabby's close friends noticed her tone changing in texts, shorter replies, more anxious. But she never spoke badly about Brian. She wanted to make things work. She wanted the story to stay beautiful. By early 2021, Gabby bought a white Ford Transit van. They converted it into a small mobile home with fairy lights, a little bed, and art supplies. For her, it wasn't just a van, it was freedom on wheels. She began documenting their journey online. Van life with Gabby and Brian. Each video showed breathtaking landscapes, arches in Utah, deep canyons, forests that stretched forever. Her voice in those clips carried genuine joy. We woke up by the river today. It's so peaceful. I feel alive here. But the camera doesn't capture everything. Between the smiles, there were arguments, frustrations about directions, money, and the fatigue of life on the road. Still, Gabby kept believing in peace. She believed people could change, that love could heal. When silence follows laughter, it never feels right. And for Gabby's family, that silence was louder than any scream. Late August 2021. Somewhere between Wyoming's vast wilderness and the edges of a dream that was starting to crumble, Gabby Petito's phone went quiet. The last time her mother, Nicole Schmidt, heard Gabby's voice, she was cheerful, almost forcing it. "We're in Grand Teton," she said. "It's beautiful here. Don't worry about me, Mom. I'll text you when we reach Yellowstone." But that text never came. A few days later, Nicole received a strange message from Gabby's phone. No service in Yosemite. It didn't make sense. Gabby was never supposed to be near Yosemite. She was traveling north, not west. That single message felt wrong, cold, distant, unlike Gabby's usual warmth. Nicole reread it over and over. Something inside her whispered, "This wasn't my daughter." As the days passed, Gabby's online activity stopped. No new photos, no calls, no social media posts. On September 1st, Brian Laundrie, the man who was supposed to love her, drove back to his parents' home in Northport, Florida, alone. He didn't call her family. He didn't report her missing. He simply parked the van in the driveway, the same van that carried both their dreams, and walked inside like nothing had happened. Neighbors saw him mowing the lawn, going on bike rides. While miles away, Gabby's parents were calling hospitals, police departments, anyone who could have seen her. Nicole's voice cracked as she spoke to officers. "Please, my daughter's missing. She's 22. She was traveling with her fiancé." But the response was slow, too slow. The world didn't yet know this was about to become one of the most haunting stories of a generation. By September 10th, panic had turned into headlines. Social media exploded with the hashtag #FindGabbyPetito. TikTok users, YouTubers, even amateur sleuths began analyzing every clip from her travel vlogs. Every word, every look between her and Brian. One video caught attention. Gabby smiling into the camera, her eyes tired but trying to stay bright. "Sometimes we argue," she said, "but it's okay. Life on the road isn't always easy." That smile now looked different. People began piecing together timelines, locations, last sightings. It was as if the internet became one giant investigation room. And still, Brian said nothing, not a word. When police came to the laundry house on September 11th, the day Gabby was officially reported missing, Brian's parents handed them a lawyer's number. No explanations, no cooperation, just silence. The contrast was unbearable. While Gabby's family begged for answers, Brian's family locked their doors. Nicole appeared on TV, trembling, voice breaking. We just want to find our daughter. We just want her home. Millions felt that pain. It wasn't just a missing person story anymore. It was a human heartbreak unfolding live. Authorities searched thousands of acres of wilderness in Wyoming. Drones flew over rivers and valleys. Volunteers combed through campsites. But nature was vast and clues were scarce. Then came a small breakthrough. A YouTube travel couple, Jen and Kyle Bethune, uploaded dashcam footage from the same area Gabby was last seen. In the background, parked quietly beside a dirt road, was a white van. Her van. That grainy footage, shot by chance, became the spark that guided investigators to the right place. It wasn't fate. It was awareness. The power of people caring. September 1921. Wyoming's air was cold and still when FBI agents discovered what they feared the most. Near a campsite along Spread Creek dispersed area, they found human remains consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. A blue tent stood nearby, the same landscape she once called beautiful. The search stopped. The world froze. That night, news anchors' voices trembled. Authorities have found a body believed to be Gabby Petito. Millions of strangers cried for a girl they never met. It wasn't just grief. It was rage, sadness, and disbelief that such light could end this way. Her father tweeted, "She touched the world," and she truly did. Back in Florida, cameras surrounded the laundry home. Reporters shouted questions. Protesters stood outside holding signs. "Where's Brian?" "Justice for Gabby." But still, silence. Days later, Brian himself vanished. He left home supposedly for a hike in Carlton Reserve and never returned. Now there were 2 missing people, and a storm of unanswered questions. The internet became a vigil. Artists painted her face. Songs were written in her memory. People lit candles on live streams, whispering prayers. A young woman who had once dreamed of traveling the world had, in death, united millions across it. And through it all, her parents showed grace, broken but brave. They promised they would turn their daughter's tragedy into awareness. Nicole's voice in one interview echoed like a whisper to the world. "If you see something, say something. Don't let another Gabby happen." When truth hides behind silence, the world begins to shout. September 20th, the day after Gabby's body was found. The sunlight over Wyoming felt cruel. For days, the world had hoped for a miracle. Now, that hope was gone. In New York, outside the Petito family home, flowers covered the front yard. Strangers came with candles, drawings, and handwritten letters. Some whispered prayers. Others simply stood in silence, unable to speak through the lump in their throats. Inside the house, Gabby's mother sat at the kitchen table, staring at her phone. It still showed her daughter's contact name. "My sunshine," Nicole whispered to herself. "I should have called one more time. Just one more time." Her husband, Joe, placed his hand over hers. Neither spoke. There was nothing left to say. Television screens across America showed her smiling face, the girl with the bright eyes, standing in front of canyon sunsets. News anchors called it the story of the year. On social media, millions demanded answers. Why did the police let her go during that stop in Utah? Why hadn't Brian spoken? Where was he now? Every moment of her short life became a puzzle piece. Every image, every caption, analyzed by strangers. But amid all that noise, one truth was clear. The world had fallen in love with Gabby Petito, and it refused to let her story fade. Meanwhile in Florida, police swarmed the Carlton Reserve, a massive swampy area of 25,000 acres. Brian's parents told investigators he'd gone hiking days earlier and never returned. No phone, no wallet, no goodbye note. Search teams fought mud, snakes, and rain. Helicopters circled for days. Reporters camped outside the laundry home, microphones waiting for a statement that never came. One anchor said quietly on live TV, "And we're not just looking for a suspect. We're looking for an explanation." But explanations don't live in swamps. They live in hearts. And sometimes hearts refuse to speak. While one family buried their daughter, the other stayed hidden behind curtains. At Gabby's funeral, her father spoke softly before a sea of mourners. I want you to be inspired by her. If you want to travel, do it. If you want to make art, make it. Don't waste your time. Be kind. That's what she wanted. The church echoed with sobs. Outside, rain began to fall, as if the sky itself mourned her. Back in Florida, the laundry home remained silent. Reporters noted lights flickering at night, packages delivered quietly, blinds never opening. People shouted from the street, "Tell us where she is. What happened to her?" But no one answered. As days passed, conversations around the world deepened. Why did Gabby's case draw so much attention when so many others went unseen? Journalists began calling it the missing white woman syndrome. It forced people to confront uncomfortable truths, how society chooses whose stories matter. Yet even in that debate, Gabby's parents remained humble. They said, if her story can help another family find their child, then let it. And in the weeks that followed, dozens of other missing person cases gained new life. People started looking harder, caring more, searching deeper. Gabby's light, even in death, guided others home. As FBI teams examined the van, they found traces of struggle, small signs, fragments of a story too painful to imagine. There were photos, receipts, campsite logs. Witnesses remembered seeing Brian alone, acting distant. One shop owner recalled him buying food, for one. Piece by piece, the puzzle built itself. A love story had turned into a tragedy. A dream had become a nightmare. And now, the question wasn't what happened, but why? October 20th, 2021, more than a month after Brian vanished. Searchers discovered human remains in the Carlton Reserve. Nearby lay a dry notebook, soaked and stained with water. Forensic reports later confirmed it was Brian Laundrie. Inside the notebook, a confession, written shakily, the ink blurred by rain. He claimed responsibility for Gabby's death. Investigators released the note months later. It was short, confused, almost childlike. It spoke of love, guilt, and pain, but offered no comfort, no real explanation. Just like that, the story that had gripped the world seemed to end. But for Gabby's family, it never would. In the months that followed, the Petito family created the Gabby Petito Foundation, an organization devoted to helping families of missing persons and victims of domestic violence. Her mother said, "If Gabby's voice was taken away, then ours will speak for her." They began visiting schools, giving talks, funding search efforts for others still lost. Out of their unimaginable pain, they built purpose. Sometimes, from ashes, something kind can still grow. Podcasters analyzed timelines. Filmmakers made documentaries. But what truly remained wasn't the speculation, it was empathy. People started noticing signs of abuse in relationships around them. Friends checked on friends. Couples learned to talk about boundaries, about fear, about trust. Gabby had once said, "I just want people to feel something when they see what I create." She did far more than that. She made people feel everything. Some stories don't end with justice. They end with remembrance. Some lives don't fade because their echoes teach the world to care. After Brian Laundrie's remains and the confession notebook were discovered, Gabby's family faced an impossible reality. The person who had shared dreams, laughter, and travels with their daughter was gone, leaving questions that would never truly be answered. Yet, even amid heartbreak, Nicole and Joe Petito found strength. They transformed their grief into action. "Gabby's story doesn't have to end in silence," Nicole said in an emotional interview. "If people can learn from her life, if someone else is saved from the same fate, then her light will live on." The Gabby Petito Foundation became a beacon. Missing person awareness campaigns, education on domestic abuse, and support for families who feared silence, these became her legacy. Gabby's story transcended borders. Social media channels, news platforms, and true crime communities shared her story repeatedly. Strangers in the US, UK, Canada, and beyond held vigils online, posted messages of hope, and donated to causes that prevented tragedies like hers. Teachers, counselors, and social workers used her story to educate others, spotting signs of controlling relationships, recognizing when a loved one may be in danger, understanding that behind the happiest faces, real pain can hide. Gabby had once dreamed of sharing her journey through the country, showing freedom on the road. In death, she showed the world how crucial listening, caring, and noticing the silent cries can be. Her parents created scholarships and grants for aspiring artists, giving young people opportunities to express themselves, to chase their dreams safely. Each candlelit vigil, each tweet, each post of remembrance became a soft echo of her life. Gabby's story, though tragic, reminded humanity, love is not enough if it hides fear. Freedom is meaningless if someone is trapped in silence. Her laughter, once carried on the roads of Wyoming and Utah, now lives in hearts around the world. Gabby's journey was short, but her impact is long. Her story is more than a headline. It is a cautionary tale, a memorial, and a source of hope. Gabby Petito's life was a dream on wheels, a dream that the world watched with awe, hope, and eventually heartbreak. She wanted to see the world, and in her passing, she made the world see itself. She reminds us to love, to listen, to protect, and to never ignore the silence of those we care for. The road she traveled may have ended too soon, but the story she left behind is eternal. Remember her not for how she died, but for how she taught us to truly see each other,